Hey guys, welcome back to the front line. It's your girl Shamar. Come on in the cabin, pull up a seat, guys. I want to show y'all something. I made sure to change our background photo this week. That must have been killing y'all. I probably want to jump through the screen like, what is this picture in the background, Shamar? Alright, well this week I'm paying attention, guys. Paying attention. I want y'all to see who I pulled in this week. Because I've been talking about the hidden hand, right? So what do you know, guys? Let me make sure I turn this up real low. What do y'all know, guys? The hidden hand. None other than Esau, aka Adam, aka first prophet of Allah. I like to call him disgruntled Adam. Right, guys? That's because I see right through him. You know, there was an interesting story. You guys need to go to the community page sometimes because every so often I drop stuff there. And I saw an interesting share this week from someone on, from somebody on YouTube. And I thought it was a real strange story because I was actually talking about that story involving Moses and how the Creator told him to put his hand in his bosom. And when he did it, his hand came back out leprous. In other words, white, right? Didn't Aesop do a story painting the Ethiopian white? Didn't Adam hide his sin in his bosom? I think I'm making a correlation here, guys. I'm still working on that one. But it really reminded me of Adam hiding his transgression in his bosom when the Creator tells Moses to put your hand in your bosom and take it back out. And then it's leprous. Anyway, guys, there was an interesting story involving a guy named Samuel Adams. And what did I tell y'all before? That last name Adams is a homage to the first father, Adam, guys. So Samuel Adams, I've already linked that there to homage of first father Adam, guys, and he's the first prophet of Allah. So it's a lot going on there with Aesop, a lot going on with that last name Adam. First name Adam, we know that movie, Grizzly Adams, I linked that also to the story of Adam. Man coming out in the wilderness by himself, right, guys? I have to show that to you guys again, but if you guys are looking for content, you know, that's in Adam Left the Garden Alone. That may be in Is Adam Aesop? Now, you know, guys, we've identified Adam as Aesop. I'm confident. I don't need anybody to come in here and tell me you got it right. My mother made me know I got it right. All right, guys, that's why when I see this character with his hand hidden, right? And I think about that temple that Solomon built, right, guys? Where he was burning incense and people, when I think it's Ezekiel is grabbed by, is it Ezekiel or Isaiah? One of them is grabbed by a lock of their hair, and the mother is showing them that the women are baking cakes to Tammuz and is praying to the east going on. It's a really wild story, guys. And you guys got to get into it, right? Get into your IJE. Those are your prophets. Telling you about the prophets, right, guys? But this week, listen, I realize I do a lot of talking about the sons, but I have to. I mean, there's only a tenth that are going to come out of Israel, guys, that need to hear this message. They need to know what's coming. But I think that I spend a lot of time on the men, and it might feel like picking on them, right, guys? So I want to be unbiased, all right? Because there's enough blame to go around Israel. I always wondered why you'll see in the Torah sometimes a reference to Jacob and Israel. Right, guys? As if I thought that they were supposed to be one and the same. What's going on, right, y'all? So listen, guys. Last week we talked about what the men did to hide the hand, right, guys? Just like Aesop's doing right here, right? Building y'all up to who the hand is. All right, but this week I want to talk about how the daughters allowed themselves to be complacent in this. Last week we discovered the whole background of wedding. I was linked to the word weddung. How the paterfamilias, we always talk about the papal bull, but nobody wants to, is that papacy word, right, guys? Linked to the father. They always want to talk about how the papal bull came in here, but nobody wants to talk about how that impacted our culture. What kind of laws came with it? Right, guys? So this week, I want to talk about the daughters' roles. Right, guys? Naomi says that, and I'm still trying to prove this, guys, that what they did, the men, when they did this takeover, that they wiped out all of the matriarchs. Right? And then if you trace the story of Esther, what Esther is almost like the story of indoctrination, reprogramming for the Israelite woman who once used to be the chief. That now she would learn how to be subservient, right? Versus being a chief and having land and inheritance, Instead, this woman would become a doll of sorts. I don't even know how that ring came through. I hope it didn't record, because I sure enough pressed do not disturb. All right, guys? So let's keep moving, right? Because I bought y'all this scripture before. But when I bought it to you guys before, we focused mainly on the forsaking. That great forsaking, right? That crying that's going to happen. You guys are going to have to go back to look at that on your own. Today, I want to show you what happened to you, chief. How you fell from being the household ruler to a doll. You want to know how that happened to you? First, I'm going to read a scripture, right, of things to come. I call this Zyion for a reason. In this kingdom, the woman is ruling. We don't have a place for dolls, lady. You better get it together. Let me show you what was done to you, chief. Isaiah 3:16-24. Last week he talked to the sons, didn't he? Listen what he's got to say to the daughters. Moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zyion are haughty, and walk with outstretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and menacing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. Therefore the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zyion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. In that day the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their calls, and their round tires like the moon, the chains, and the bracelets, and the mufflers, and the bonnets, and the ornaments of the legs, and the headbands, and the tablets, and the earrings, the rings, and the nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles, and the wimples, and the crisping pins, the glasses, the fine linen, the hoods, the veils. It shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink, and instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of well set hair, baldness. and instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. I wonder what that sounds like in a more modern translation. Let's see. God says Zyion women are stuck up, prancing around in their high heels. You know, that's funny because when I saw that tinkling of the feet, that's exactly what I thought it was. Right here. Tinkling of the feet. Right? Making their eyes at all the men in the street. Yeah, what are those wonton eyes, guys? I got a theory for that too, but we'll get to it. Swinging their hips, tossing their hair, gaudy and garish in cheap jewelry. The master will fix it so those Zyion women will all turn bald. Scabby, bald-headed women. The master will do it. The time is coming when the master will strip them of their fancy baubles. See, the master isn't, they're saying the master, but it sounds like that's happening after. I wonder why they become bald after, right? It's said here instead of well set here, right above, baldness. These weaves getting snatched away. Is that when we're going to see the baldness, guys? Let's keep going. The dangling earrings, anklets, bracelets, combs, mirrors, silk scarves, diamond brooches, pearl necklaces, the rings on the finger, the rings on the toes, the latest fashions in hat, exotic perfumes and aphrodisiacs, gowns and capes, all the world's finest in fabric and design. Instead of wearing seductive scents, these women are going to smell like rotting cabbage. Instead of modeling flowing gowns, they'll be sporting rags. Instead of their stylish hairdos, scruffy heads. Instead of beauty marks, scabs and scars. That sounds like a lot going on, don't it, guys? I wonder why this passage seemed to do so much with like fashion, right, guys? I wondered about it. That was until I found the why deaf, right? And that there would only be a tenth of Israel left. If there is a tenth of Israel left, who are you impressing, ladies? We outnumber the men, don't we? And then I wondered, like, what was it about? You know, when I started reading this in the veils, it reminded me of the makeup. It reminded me of the Nephilim, the fallen angel, right? How they bought makeup and jewelry and abortion and all these things that we've read about in these extra biblical texts, right? I noticed that these were high heels, guys, the ladies were walking on. I noticed that these wanton eyes were probably false eyelashes. And I got to thinking, like, has Israel been complacent in their captivity? Is this why we will be surrendering these things? Right, guys? So I started doing some research. Most things women, most things that the Torah just referenced, right? The high heels. Get this. Even in 2015, the designers of women's clothes are mostly men. Israel, your oppressor has been dressing you up, and you seem to love it. Let's find out about that, guys. Each season, seemingly without fail, Phoebe Philow's latest collection for French brand Celine receives the same praise. This, the critics say, is clothing women actually want to wear. Which begs the question, what is everyone else designing? The difference with her clothes, her fans say, is that they are designed for women, by women. Doesn't that sound like FUBU, guys? For us, by us? We didn't even know because we thought that was for us too, ladies. The men have been dressing us. Yeah. Says here, one who understands the rigors of women's life and the desires of a self-assured individual, who isn't concerned first and foremost with what men or Instagram think. If that sense is rare enough for critics to point it out, as they also did this season with the work of Stella McCarthy and this person right here, perhaps it's because even in 2015, men still dominate the top position in women's fashion. We have been living dolls. Israel. Women. It's the men that have been designing these clothes for us. It's the men that buy these things for us. We have been complacent in our captivity. We gave up our mantles and our robes and our ability to be the judge and rule the home to wear these things. Check it out, guys. Let's talk about the history of the high heel, because that was one of the things that was referenced, wasn't it? The history of high heels. Move over Paris runways. Leggy glamour and glittery fashion statements, all that we now associate with high heels, give way to humble beginnings of wearing high heels. They actually served a very practical purpose. High heels weren't originally intended for women at all. When it comes to heels, women were the latest adopters. The real fashionistas in the history of high heels were men. In ancient Egypt, about 3500 BC, the first high heels were worn by butchers. Yes, butchers. By wearing elevated shoes, Egyptian butchers were able to walk over slaughtered animals and bloodied floors without dirtying their feet. Okay? Sounds like I wrote this article, doesn't it? That's my little thing. Okay. So depictions on ancient Egyptian murals also illustrate figures wearing high heels for ceremonial purposes as well. Alright. Alright, we still wear the Greek heel, the Greek flat sandal. You see it right there. Persia. One of the most convincing theories about high heels took over the world comes from shoe expert and academic Elizabeth Semmelhack, the curator at the museum in Canada. Persian riding shoes were the real source of the first trend. Persian art shows that many noblemen of the medieval Persian Empire wore heels as riding shoes. Persian male soldiers riding horseback used heel to secure their feet in stirrups and give them more leverage when fighting. Persian noblemen in the 1500s wore high heels, which were often in decadent material and bright colors. European royals really perked up and took notice when a Persian monarch came to tour European courts in the 1500s wearing colorful shoes with high heels. The diplomatic gesture turned into a fashionable one too. People saw the beautiful heeled shoes worn by the Shah and his entourage and decided to make them their own. Those things were not only gorgeous, but made the wearer appear taller and more formidable. Now, why would they want to be taller looking? Told y'all last week, remember? Saul was distinguished because of his height. People thought he was high, he was tall, right? This is what Israel wanted to be like the other nations. You heard what they say, the European royals perked up when they saw these shoes, right? Sound like some Jordans or something back in the day, right? He got those number 4s. All right, let's keep going. Venice. During the 1400s in Venice, women wore staggeringly high, slightly tilted shoes with as many as 24 inches of narrow platform heels. They were designed to keep the mud off of the real shoe. Okay. Renaissance Italy. You see these heels are mostly in Europe, right? The idea of low soles and high soles are an option for women in Italy. All right, this was a debut made by Catherine de Medici. She married the Duke of Orleans. How about that? The 14-year-old bride apparently wore towering heels that looked slightly more like an adult. Yeah, because that should work, right? Okay. Let's make her taller. Let's not worry if she got hips or any upper breast area. We just need her to look taller to make it seem like it's okay to marry a 14-year-old. How about that thought process? The New World wasn't fond of the high heel either. Massachusetts Puritans banned high heels outright. That's why you don't have a photo, they say. Our people were here, so you know we weren't wearing these things either. All right? But the high heel would bounce back. The Victorians were actually the ones who rediscovered the heel. All right, guys, so we know. Okay. Once they began, right here. Once they had been around for a while, high heels on women began to accumulate their own erotic, feminine significance. Some French authors in the 18th century began to talk about the finely arched foot and delicately curved heel, its sexual attributes, and made the heel a key part of a desirable, noble woman's body. It was at this point that men stopped wearing the high heel. It had become a woman's shoe, associated with impracticality and irrationality. Okay, guys, so yeah. Who made the stiletto? The narrowest heel was named after the slender Italian dagger of the Renaissance. The discovery of the designer shoe has been credited to Salvatore Ferragamo. Roger Vivier's work for Christian Dior. Salvatore Ferragamo paved the way for stilettos. How about that? It's a man. What did I tell y'all? It's been men playing dress up and women loving it. What about these lashes? What about these wanton eyes? The history of false eyelashes, right? We're seeing them everywhere. Women are running around looking like snuffleupagus, depending on how thick they are. You know, I'm not trying to down everybody rocking this stuff, but you need to know where this came from and this vanity that you've been caught up in, this stumbling block. You don't know your own power because you're too busy playing dress up, lady. The history of the false eyelash. Would you go as far as having your false eyelashes sewn to your eyelids? No, that's neither. Yet history books report that's how false eyelashes were first worn. In periodicals as far back as 1879. Who knew the Germans were big lash fans? One day, do yourself a favor and look up that word Germany. German, brother and sister from the same mother, guys. Really interesting dig. A German inventor called Karl Nessler laid claim to the first fake lash patent, followed hot on the heels by Anna Taylor, a Canadian. They give her most of the credit today, right? All right. False lashes were considered racy back in the 19th century and the early 20th century. Makeup, particularly false eyelashes, was associated with prostitutes and actresses. By the 1930s, attitudes had changed, and we know right now they done changed, don't we? And false eyelashes became more acceptable in society due to no small part to the Hollywood film industry and fashion publications like Vogue. Guys, it says by the 1930s. Is that not still the case right now, that Hollywood and fashion publications are dictating that we're putting these stupid things on our face? The 1920s lash market was all about more. More is more. Times were wild and women wanted their face fashion to keep up with a decade of indulgence. As false eyelashes became more popular, the style and design changed. It says women will always want makeup, even in a recession. You know why? Because we're trying to attract him. In the 1940s, were no different. The war meant money was tight and you couldn't get hold of most beauty products, even if you wanted to. However, women were resourceful. Homemade false lashes became the their go-to product to make them feel glamorous. Yeah, we've been doing this, guys. I thought this was new. I thought this was new, guys. It ain't new. They've been dictating what we call fashion. They've been dictating what we look to, what we decide to buy. Let's keep going, guys, because you know what? The Torah mentioned the round. Hold on. The Torah mentioned. Let me show you guys something. Round tires like the moon, guys. Right here. Round tires like the moon. Right, guys? So when I saw that, I said to myself, what could these round tires like the moon be? And I like round tires like the moon to me. Tires is plural, so there's more than one. The origins and unusual history of breast implants and breast augmentation. Breast augmentation, and who does that benefit, guys? Who does making your boobs bigger benefit? So it can't benefit you, the woman with the back pain, right? Snoring while you're sleeping. Who does that benefit? Breast augmentation with implants is the most common type of cosmetic surgery procedure in the world. It can give you beautiful curls and a sensational appeal. Appeal for who? For some people, it gets rid of insecurities and gives them the much needed confidence they deserve. But where did it all begin? Let's find out. Modern day breast implants are relatively a new technology. Earlier, it wasn't this easy and convenient. Did you know that the first breast implant surgery was performed only about 6 decades ago? Before that, women used to inject their boobs with all sorts of crazy things to make them appear bigger. Needless to say, why would they need them to appear bigger? For who? Needless to say, the results were never that great and often life-threatening. Breast implant technology has come a long way since then. Let's look at what they did earlier. Round implants, right? Round implants right here, like the moon. In ancient societies in Egypt, Rome, and parts of India, surgical body modifications were made to help wounded soldiers. They didn't have the modern anesthesia, medicine, or surgical techniques. This meant that surgeries were usually reserved for people with serious damage or abnormalities. As techniques evolved, it became possible to offer a range of surgeries to more patients. The first one was performed by Joseph Carpu. It was a facial reconstruction. All right, so these were for noble reasons. I mean, to give people facial confidence. You didn't really want to walk around with your nose missing, right? All right, so that was cool. But why did we start with this breast enhancement stuff? Early breast enhancement was not very sought after procedure, but a very questionable one. In fact, initially, it resulted in health-endangering complications. Regardless of the risk associated, people still got their breasts done for the sake of vanity. Oh, I'm glad they put that in there. In the year 1890, Australian doctor Robert Gersony started the entire enhancement magic by injecting paraffin oil into a woman's chest. The initial results looked fabulous, but over time, breasts grew very hard and lumpy. In some cases, extreme infection occurred. By the 1920s, this procedure was abandoned. Then came the fatty tissue experiment. Surgeons extracted tissue from the abdomen and injected them into the breast area. This looked great initially, but the fat got reabsorbed into the body, which caused asymmetrical breast and scarring. All right, during World War II, some of the Japanese prostitutes revealed the secret to their perfect-looking breasts: silicone injections. Silicone gained just a hype that it became a rare commodity. It led to infections. All right, silicone fever. Some women stayed away while others still went after gorgeous-looking breasts. But right here, some of the icons like Marilyn Monroe, Lana Turner, Sorry, Turner, these is old Hollywood people that nobody was really looking at anyway, but let them tell it they were. Ava Gardner are known for their bombshell breast procedures. Um, and so this inspired a lot of women by the 40s and the 50s to get and buy a lot of bra stuffings. I never even heard of this. This also gave rise to synthetic and polyvinyl sponge surgery. They had the same problem. They looked great, but became hard after a while. Ugh, I never even heard about that. But by the year the 1950s, surgeons were desperate to find a suitable solution. They had implanted silicone, everything from ivory balls to ox cartilage to wool, but nothing really worked. Wow. In 1961, everything changed for the breast enhancement industry when Dow collaborated and created the first silicone breast prosthetic, all right, which they filled with gel. All right, so and the rest is history from there. They did injections, they did fat transfers, you name it. But who was this for? If you wanted your breasts to look bigger, who was looking at them for you to care? Right, guys? This is what, and the first maker was, of course, a man. You'll notice everything was made by the man. Let's keep going. We already got the eyelash, the high heel, the breast implant. What about this, guys? The swimsuit. Did you know that the swimsuit, guys, was named after an atomic test that was performed in Bikini Atoll? There was a king there named King Judah. A group of islands called the Marshall Islands. Let's read it. Y'all still wearing this, Israel? The swimsuit named for an atomic test site, and other familiar things named after less familiar places. The following words are probably in your vocabulary, but you might not realize they're named after places. All right? Bikini. The two-piece swimsuit takes its name from Bikini Atoll in the Marshall Islands, location of 23 nuclear weapons tests conducted by the United States from 1946 to 1958. The bathing costume, I wanted to highlight costume, guys, is supposedly named for the explosive effects its French inventor claimed it would have on society. Did he not get it right? Did he not get it right? I mean, it's like American icon, right? A bikini, right? The Pacific Ocean islands are still contaminated with radiation and considered unfit for human habitation, but are deemed safe for scuba diving trips. Sure, jump on in, guys. Bikini Lagoon is the final resting place for a fleet of U.S. ships sunk during the test, including the USS Saratoga, one of the largest diveable wrecks in the world. Thrill-seeking underwater explorers should note, however, that soil samples taken from Bikini in Inawak Atoll in 2015 recorded plutonium levels 10 times higher than those in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. This is what they did to these people. They dropped a bomb on them and then made these two little pieces of fabric after them. Oh, look at the inventor says. It's a French one. Explosive effects that it would have on society. The degradation. That's what it had on society. And we love to dress up in it, guys. Don't front. I had one or two. Let's not lie. Probably more than that. All right, guys. I just ain't want to come real with you guys. I wore this monstrosity. I wore most of what they're talking about in here. Okay? Like a harlot. I played dress up too. I don't know more. Who was on Bikini Atoll, guys? Let's blow your mind. King Judah and his family. Soon after the end of World War II, President Truman issued a directive to Army and Navy officials, right, that joint testing of nuclear weapons would be necessary to determine the effects of atomic bombs on American warships. Bikini Island was chosen to be the new nuclear proving ground for the U.S. government because of its location away from regular air and sea routes. In order for testing to get underway, the natives were removed from the island. Mittens was sent to the island to document the exodus of the people of Bikini. Funny, they want to use that word, right? Bikini's population numbered only 160 people from 11 families before it was evacuated. It was governed by a paramount chief, whom U.S. sailors began calling king, and a lapse or family head. In this picture, Chief Judah sits with his family. Clothes were optional for children, but adults were taught by missionaries to wear them despite the hot weather. She said, I didn't want to carry everybody. I don't want to zoom in too close on this little guy here because he's naked, and I don't want to get in trouble here at YouTube because that's not what I'm trying to show. So up here is King Judah and his wife, but I zoomed in because it's funny. They got a picture of this guy, and he looks confused. She looks like she knows what's going on, but I noticed the difference in their hair. All right, guys. King Judah of Bikini Island. You'll see what I'm saying right here. Look at this portrait. Don't he look fried, dyed, and laid to the side? Come on, y'all. He looked like Big Red. What was the movie? The 5 Heartbeats. He looked just like Big Red. My office hours are. Guys, come on now. Who them foreign women they done thrown to this man to get him off the island? They don't even look like him. Let's keep going. This is King Judah of Bikini Island, guys. Did y'all know about this bikini atoll thing? Did y'all know y'all wearing these bikinis? And they represent the bombing of this ecosystem? I'm going to come back to this later on, guys, because I want to talk to us ladies about something. Who was Andres? Oh, he made the miniskirt. It's just more men, guys. Andres, the man widely credited with inventing the miniskirt. How many of these things do I have to show y'all? All of this harlotry shit. All of this crap that you will see at a strip club or wherever you're going. Who made it, guys? Who is dressing you up? Oh, he's credited with the space girl look. Of course, that's how they want to see you. Andy Warhol. He counted Andy Warhol among his circle of friends and dressed French female icons such as model and actress Brigitte Bardot. It's been men dressing you up, ladies. Let's keep going. What do we got here? The actual term lipstick wasn't used until 1880s. People were coloring their lips long before the date. Let's see who started this. Egyptians made a red dye from a combination of fucus, iodine, and I don't even know what half of this stuff is. They crushed some beetles and ants to color Cleopatra's red lips. But it says here, in the purple, guys, many historians give credit to the ancient Arab cosmetologist, you see his name, for inventing the first solid lipstick, which he describes in his writing as perfumed sticks rolled and pressed in special molds. That makes me want to buy it. Damn good advertising back in the days, didn't they, guys? Yeah. A man made your lipstick, guys. A man. Sounds like the Fallen guys running around making all these great things, remember? And it's going back to the Arab community, guys, which we linked back to Abraham, didn't we? Abraham, father of many nations. Let's see what else we got here. Teddy bears and teddies, the surprising literal etymology of teddy's lingerie. Two types of teddy bears. In 1906, stuffed teddy bears changed the toy industry. And they've been made as early as 1902. There's no evidence of their being sold under the name until the late 1905. The full-on teddy bear craze did not take hold until the spring of 1906. The name is a reference to President Teddy Roosevelt's decade-long fondness of bear hunting. Many accounts point to a particular failed bear hunting incident when Roosevelt gallantly refused to shoot a captive, injured bear presented to him for the kill shot. In 1913, women stuffed into teddy bear undergarments, now called teddies, which changed the lingerie industry. These new teddies featured bottoms and tops combined into a single piece. Don't this sound like the separate apparels that the Torah was telling us about? Don't it? Y'all remember. Although the name has long been considered an obvious allusion to teddy bears, the precise imagery was unclear. Did it refer to the shape of the garment, the cuddliness of someone in the garment, the look of a woman wearing the garment, with articulated arms and legs sticking out from the central body like a teddy bear? Are you his teddy bear, guys, when you throw this on? While it seems possible that any one or all of those images may have played a role in making the name resonate with the public, the initial impulse to use the name may have been more straightforward. Teddy bear undergarments may have been designed and named by a Chicago clothing manufacturer named Theodore Bear. Teddy bear. He was born in Germany, guys. I told you a lot of stuff keep coming out of Germany. My mom's maiden name is German, so this is no pun in anyone. At some point, he went into business with his brothers as the Bear Brothers of Cincinnati. He was the business for himself in Chicago as a maker of infants, children's, and misses' wears. Yeah, because it looks like a grown-up, like a onesie for a baby, right? But just all dolled up with lace for a woman. He claims to have been the first manufacturer in the United States to use an electric sewing machine. Guys, this was all men. The idea of combining tops and bottoms was not new. Combination set sensible. A woman of my acquaintance who is too fleshy to suit the demand of the fashionable figure has for years had her corset cover and short knee skirts cut in one piece. Not because it was the fashionable thing to do, but merely because it was more comfortable. These new combination sets are variously known as princess and chemisets. The corset cover is attached to the short knee. So yeah, they were doing all kinds of crazy stuff to dress up the woman. Check this out. And we just fell into it. We just became complacent. They brought all this crap to our shores, allowed us to play dress up for our men, for our captors, and we fell for it. And while we do that, we don't realize this. The solid epidemic of femicide in the United States. Listen, guys, here's what I'm tired of seeing. The YouTube channels with the women being killed. Them and their children. Every day I turn on YouTube, there was a woman of Israel killed with her child that didn't belong to him, but it was her child. And I told y'all before, there is no antonym for the word femicide. Is there? So what's happening, guys? Why are we being slaughtered like this? Every day I'm praying for justice and equality for the woman. Guys, we are the nation who have been abandoned by our men. We have been distracted. We've done everything in our power to try to keep them entertained with this foolishness that men have made for our bodies. We don't even see what's coming. The Creator is going to have to strip us of these foolish things that we've allowed ourselves to be bought with. Fancy hairstyles, all that's going to be gone. Your tires like the moon, all these BBLs. You're running around, you're messing with your butt, you're messing with your boobs. All of that's going to be gone. You're going to be stinking. A tenth will be left. If the Creator didn't step in, it probably would be only a tenth of us. Because look at what's happening in the United States. Last summer, New Yorkers were rattled by the devastating senseless murder of Zyion Johnson, a 20-year-old victim of domestic violence, who was shot while walking her 3-month-old baby on the Upper East Side. Contrary to initial speculation, this was not a random killing. A few days after the shooting, the child's father was arrested and charged with her murder. According to her mother, the ex-boyfriend right here, physically abused her while pregnant with her child and continued to stalk and threaten her for months. Though shocking and infuriating, Johnson's case is sadly just one of many instances of fatal violence against women. Femicide is prevalent in the U.S. In the United States, femicide, the gender-based killing of women, is often thought of as an issue affecting low-income countries. Just like infant immortality, right? Just like when we go to the hospitals, you think that that's only happening in a third world country. Wake up. We don't have those midwives that are gonna go against the Pharaoh and save our babies. Remember what they said. The Israelite women are different. They give birth joyously. We don't have that anymore. That's why we're going into hospitals and not coming back out, guys. It is an assault on us, the woman. This has been a distraction to make us feel like something else was going on, guys. I'm showing you something. The Creator is talking to her daughters. The Creator is talking to her daughters. When it's speaking to the sons, we've seen it. This is speaking to the daughters. So what is happening to the daughters? I'm showing you. It's often thought of as an issue in low-income countries. This could not be further from the truth. Of all femicide cases in high-income countries, 70% occur in the United States. To put that into perspective on a global scale, the U.S. ranks 34th for intentional female homicides at a rate of 2.6 killings per 100,000 women. The U.S., almost 3 women are killed by an intimate partner every day. By an intimate partner every day. Your house bonder is killing you. Just as is the case with Zyion Johnson. Women in the U.S. are predominantly executed by men they know and largely by current or former inmate partners. Intimate. These are the statistics, guys. Women are being murdered because they're women. It's saying right here. Look, the link between gender and violence in the U.S. becomes even more apparent when looking at the demographic of male homicides. Men are significantly more likely to be killed by a stranger than women. Strangers kill 29% of male homicide victims compared to only 10% of female victims. It's true that some men are taken out by their female partners too, true. But women of color, disproportionate risk. I'm going to talk about this trans statement above. That's not what we're here for. I came for the women of color risk, okay? Femicide is a pervasive problem for all women. The reality for women of color is even bleaker. Men are murdering black women and girls at a rate almost 3 times higher than white women. You hear that, y'all? Who's doing it? The men are murdering. Okay, black women and girls, it says right here, according to this article, fair use for the purposes of criticism and education. It's just a steady rise, guys. This is what the house bonder is doing to you. It says here that they are murdered by people they know. Okay, guys? So, daughter of Zyion, when are you going to make your mind up that you are tired of playing dress up? Pick your book up and read and save your family. The men that are killing you, you let in. You give them a key. You love them. You try to buy their love, some of us. You're spending $300 to slap someone else's hair on top of your head. Okay? Why are we doing this, Israel? I hope this stops reading. Because I could swear I put do not disturb on, guys. I do apologize. I hope y'all couldn't hear that. We are spending $300 to put somebody else's hair on top of our head to keep these men entertained. Thousands of dollars in tax refund money that could have went to land for a BBL, for the round tires like the moon. In that day, the Lord will take away the bravery of your tinkling ornaments and your round tires like the moon and your changeable suits of apparel. And instead of a sweet smell, there'll be stink. Because there is no Sally's. Ain't no Korean beauty store in the wilderness, ladies. I hope y'all understand this. It is time to let go of these vain practices to entertain your captors. Much love from the front line. I'll see you guys next Sabbath. It's your girl, Shamar. I want to shout out my whole family that keeps pulling up every week. Thank you, guys. See you next week.